Hello, it's Pete back again with my first opinion piece video. This is a video where I'm just going to give you my opinion on a particular topic or something that's current in the movie sphere that's happening right now, and give you my 2 cents on what I think about it. So, for the first of these, it's going to be called Pete Gallagher Says. So today, Pete Gallagher is saying, "Just because I hate Ghostbusters doesn't make me a sexist pig." And the reason I've called it this is because at the minute, the new Ghostbusters reboot that's come out, uh, I saw it last Sunday. It was embargoed till Monday, so I couldn't really post my review till Monday night. But I really did not like the film. I thought it was terrible, just like on the trailers, basically. When the trailers first launched this movie, of course, it's the most hated video in YouTube history now. Had all sorts of hateful comments for it. And what Sony went and did was sort of control or damage control basically for this movie. Is they deleted a lot of people's comments that were genuinely criticising the movie as being a bad movie, i.e. it doesn't look funny, the performances look forced, the effects look rubbish, it just looks like the same thing again but with women, it seems pointless, why reboot instead of doing another continuation, all these kind of things. All those kind of valid criticisms I had watching those trailers, where I was like, this is just not really very funny, and a lot of other people had, were all taken away, and the only comments they left were the sexist, bigoted idiots that were complaining about the fact that it was women, to try and make it seem like the majority of the negativity and the hatred was all to do with the fact that these were 4 women in this movie, and women shouldn't be Ghostbusters and shouldn't have roles in men's movies and all this utter crap, which I don't believe, and I think a good proportion of the Ghostbusters fans didn't believe either. And then to compound that and to insult to injury, the director Paul Feig and Melissa McCarthy made comments that basically said, "Oh, if you don't like this movie, you're a sexist pig. You're a misogynist and all this stuff." He didn't respond to the fans in kind. Didn't respond to fans saying, "I know that some of these responses were completely unwarranted, but there's some genuine concerns, and I will address those. Bear with me. It's okay. It'll be fine." Nothing like that. He just was very reactionary and reacted in a very negative way, calling people sexist, misogynistic shit or something he said like that. So that's one way to go about alienating your entire fan base, Paul. Well done. Hopefully your movie sucks and no one watches it from the Ghostbusters fan base. So that's that. I'm getting off a point a little here, but the original point is this movie on the trailers, where the trailers broke, was not well received, but there was a misconception that the reason it was badly received was because it was women, it was men hating on women, and that wasn't the main reason. The reason was because it looked like it was a bad movie. Now, the movie comes out, saw the film, and guess what? All the things that were in the trailer happened in the movie. It was bad, it was forced, it had poor dialogue, had terrible effects, etc., etc. In my opinion, it was very, very disappointing. I gave it 1 out of 10. I really, really hated it. I know some people did find it funny, and that I'm not, I'm a minority. I know that some people have praised, some people haven't. But when you look into detail at the reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, and even the reviews in general, a lot of them seem to be sort of pushing this agenda of sort of saying, "Hey, take that, internet trolls, this movie's good, women are funny, deal with it." All these kind of things which sort of show that really what you're doing is not actually reviewing the film on its merits of a good or bad film. You just have like an agenda to push, like a pro-feminist agenda or whatever, or an agenda to defend this movie no matter the cost, because you feel that people have been unfairly hating on it, when really some of that hate wasn't unfair, and it was in fact very well reasoned, because in my opinion most of those fears were realised in a final movie which was extremely poor. And I didn't go in wanting to hate it, I didn't go in necessarily hating the idea of it being 4 women, although I did feel from the off that the idea of just doing a reboot with 4 women, it was essentially the same movie again with 4 female roles, seemed like a very sort of dumb, not very interesting idea, and it would have been better to have done a continuation with new Ghostbusters, have a mixed team, etc., etc. But the point is that people are getting slammed for hating the movie just because, "Oh, well, it's because you don't like women in films," and that's utter shit. I have no problem with strong women in films. I love the fact that Mad Max Fury Road had some really strong feminist themes in it. It's kind of refreshing, all these movies have been so macho. It's good to have a film with a feminist agenda, so to speak, or something feminist about it. I loved The Bride and Kill Bill, loved the Ripley and the Aliens movies. loved the way what they did with Star Wars Force Awakens with Rey, made her into the first female Jedi. It was really, really good. It worked really, really well. But they didn't bash her over the head with the gender. I mean, in Star Wars, it worked well because she was a good character. She had good motivations, and I liked her, and she was well acted and well thought out and well portrayed. And it was not to do with the fact that she was a girl; she was just a good character straight off. And that should be the case. It shouldn't be the case of it's a man or a woman. It's a case of, is it a good, compelling character? Do I like them? Do I care about them? In the case of these Ghostbusters, this new one, these 4 new ones, I didn't like or care about any of the characters. They were all unlikable, one-dimensional, and in some cases completely stereotypical, but were just irritating characters that I think didn't have any kind of bond or chemistry, and they just didn't seem to be trying to do it for the right reasons in that movie. So, for me, like in the first one, you got the sense of these Ghostbusters, at least a couple of them, were trying to do it to sort of save the city. With these, it seemed like they didn't really care that much. They were just like, they cared more about their reputation and trying to be taken seriously and all this stuff. And again, they got slammed in the movie for being girls and all this other stuff. So I just find it really distasteful that the fans have been treated like this, and anyone criticising this film seems to be being treated in this way. And the film's got a disproportionate amount of positive reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, which really, really stinks, because usually a film with this level of humour, which is extremely lowbrow, lowest common denominator humour, I don't think anyone can really argue about. There's nothing witty in this script. There's nothing witty in the film, and I've seen it twice, so it's definitely nothing that I missed. It's extremely unsubtle. It's extremely lowbrow and stupid comedy. And usually, if you see those films on Rotten Tomatoes, they get a very poor rating. If you look at Central Intelligence, which is a similar type movie, a similar type comedy, I haven't seen it, but it got like I think a 32% on Rotten Tomatoes, or something not fresh anyway. It wasn't rated fresh yet. When you look at Ghostbusters, exact same kind of comedy in Ghostbusters as in Central Intelligence, almost more or less. Probably say maybe even Central Intelligence was a little bit better because I like the characters a little more. But yeah, Ghostbusters gets a 75. And even though everyone's falling over themselves to say it's not bad, it's great, people were wrong, no one's really giving it a glowing review either. I mean, the average reviews are like 6.5, 3 stars. The other person's giving it 4 stars, but no one's come out and given it 5 stars or said this is brilliant, this is really, really good, this is what we wanted to see. No one's endorsed it that much because, frankly, there's not enough about this movie to actually endorse it, because it is a poor movie and people are sort of masking or not being specific about what they think's good about it. I've not heard anyone really give me a decent thing that was funny in the movie. I mean, people say it's funny, but I'm like, where? What was funny? Like, give me some examples. I know it might be just a humour thing, but there's no. I can think of lots of constructive criticism for why I thought it was poor, which I'm not going to go into here because it's not about that. But it just seemed that like people are either too afraid or too scared or something to give it a negative review for fear of being told that it's sexist. And even in the reviews online, some of the YouTube reviewers, they're sort of dancing around the issue, which is the last point I want to make, which is the film itself is incredibly sexist towards men. And this is exactly the thing that men were ranting about and worried about in the trailer as well. And it's exactly the same thing in the movie. Men are represented in this movie as either arseholes or dimwits. There's not a single compelling multidimensional male character in this movie. All the men are either arseholes or knobheads, and the villain is like a stereotypical mean geek, and you never find out why he's a bad guy. He's got terrible motivation, and it is really slamming the fans of those original Ghostbusters movies in like an appalling way, in my opinion. And I think that, you know, that's what makes it such a distasteful, horrible movie, because of the level of disrespect that's being levelled directly at the fans of these original movie. It's like, if you really are above those sort of comments and you really think those comments are shit and drivel, why are you responding to them? Why react to them? It's like, if someone talks utter crap, the best thing you can do is just ignore it and not even give it the time of day, because that's what I do. You know, I don't take advantage. I mean, there are some people on YouTube comments where they comment all sorts of crap, and if you look at videos to do with Force Awakens, videos to do with, you know, Mad Max Fury Road, other films where they have strong female characters, you will always see some idiot on there mouthing off saying like, oh, J.J. Abrams is so gay, he made a female Jedi, what the fuck, he's ruined Star Wars. There's always going to be idiots like that who think that it's stupid just because it's a woman wielding a lightsaber and not a guy. But that's not the majority of people's consensus about me. That was just a small proportion. And with Ghostbusters, it's the same thing. It's a small proportion, I think, of people hating on it for that reason in comparison to what people perceive it to be. People perceive it to be this big hate thing about the women, and it's not. It's because people perceive the film to look crap, didn't look funny, and it was crap and it wasn't funny. Uh, and on top of that, it is really sexist. So it's annoying that the film is sort of hiding behind this veneer of sexism, where you can't criticise us because you're sexist, but the film itself is really sexist. And again, there's no call or need for that. Just because you want to have a really good female character doesn't mean that every man in the film has to be an absolute idiot. If you look at what Joss Whedon's done with his Buffy the Vampire Slayer, for example, brilliant, strong female character, obviously, no denying that. But the male characters weren't idiots. Like, they were just decent, friendly, nice characters. They were all well-written characters. The same thing with Avengers. He's got a good balance of, Black Widow's really good, but it doesn't mean that the men are just suddenly written like absolute morons either. It's about what it should be about is equality for both sexes, and neither one being really degraded or whatever. But this film does degrade men, and it does insult men. So it's no better, as I said before, it's no better and no more progressive than a Michael Bay movie like the Transformers film, because it does the same thing the other way around. So it's not empowering women in a good way. If you want to see films of empowering women, there's plenty of good indie movies and all sorts of other films that actually do it in a very effective way and showcase exactly, the things that people claim this movie is doing for women, and it's giving people stronger roles in films and stuff, which I think is utter crap. I think you could point to Hunger Games for that. This Ghostbusters movie just feels like it's bandwagoning on the back of this current trend, which is like idiots going, oh, well, everyone likes women in films now, so let's put women in this. That seems to be the overriding thing. It's nothing to do with creating strong roles for women. It's to do with idiot execs at Sony who are like, well, what's the current trend at the minute? What do the kids all like? Well, Hunger Games does really well. That's got a female lead. Star Wars is having a female lead. Let's make them all girls. Yeah, great. Let's make them all girls. There's no intelligence in that decision making or in the movie at all. So I've ranted a little bit long about this, but that's my view, is that it's perfectly acceptable to dislike this film because the majority of people who are disliking it have particularly valid reasons, that if it was any other film, other people would also be coming out and saying, yeah, this is crap, this isn't very good, this was quite poor, but they're giving it overly favourable reviews and ignoring sound criticism just because they don't want to be labelled as sexist. And I think it's just stupid. So that's my view on it. My view is just don't support Sony, don't support this movie, because the way they've treated the fans and the way they've just handled the whole thing has been absolutely terrible. And the fact that they're deleting people's comments is just terrible as well. So yeah, just don't give anyone at Sony their money if you can help it. If you have to watch the movie, just don't pay to see it, is all I can say. So that's my first opinion review over. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I managed to make enough sense because I sort of rattled through it. But yeah, that's my opinion. So basically just avoid Ghostbusters and see basically any other film that's out right now, because it's probably better than that. So I will see you guys later for another review / opinion piece. I'll see you soon. Bye.